Yeah.
A new documentary laser-focused on a growing problem in America, what it calls an early reading crisis.
When I first started teaching in Oakland, there were only 2 kids in my class of 35 who could read.
In 2022, 66% of fourth graders in this country were below proficient in reading. That's according to the National Assessment of Educational Progress. 37% were below a basic reading level.
We are in a scary place for most of our kids.
LeVar Burton is an executive producer on the film. He's spent most of his life as an advocate for literacy, dating back to his time as host of PBS's Reading Rainbow for more than 20 years. Burton says this documentary speaks to an urgent need.
Kareem has been a teacher at all levels, principal on down. And he says in the documentary, imagine being in the Stone Age and you don't have any stone. Imagine being in the Bronze Age and you have no access to bronze. We're in the information age, and our kids aren't getting access to the information because they can't read.
Burton says that while the film shines a light on the problem, it also elevates what he sees as a solution.
We were asking kids to memorize words and take their cues from the pictures as to what the words on the page mean. We now know that that doesn't work. The problem, as the experts see it, is that we've been spending money in the wrong direction, right? And we can change that. What you need is the phonics. You need a really scientifically based approach to reading instruction.
Burton says the right to read explains how a turn towards structured, science-based reading tactics is creating better outcomes for children, and he encourages parents to ask questions about what's happening in their children's classrooms.
Parents can ask their school board. They can ask their child's teacher, how are you teaching my child to read? Are you using evidence-based curricula or not? Because if they're not, then there's a problem. And once you identify the problem, only then can you address it to fix.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I am Dr. Sheikah Houston, and my trustmate in education, Dr. Tammy Taylor. We are always excited to bring you the Real Academy right after Principal Hurt, and he was on fire this morning as usual. As he stated, we are a part of the Fantastic Four, bringing you our knowledge and information through the Real Academy from Create and Educate. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Sheikah. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. You were definitely on fire. Thank you. And congratulations. We can't wait to hear more about your scores.
Most definitely. And congratulations to those schools that you're working with. Yes. And as he stated, we so enjoyed seeing everyone that we got to see in person for the first time at the Black Educators Rock Conference. Thank you to those of you that came to our sessions. We appreciate you. It was great to see Principal Kafele, Principal Hurt, Dr. Roz, Ms. Donna, all the new people that we were able to meet. Dr. Akua, we met Merlina for the first time, and she was in our session. We were so honored.
It was an honor and a true privilege. Thank you, Dr. Tester, for the opportunity to be presenters on such a wonderful platform. And it is so amazing. Don't you think it is just so unique how these are people we're meeting for the very first time in person, but it's just like we've been family forever, and doesn't even feel like these are people that you don't know, that you're meeting for the very first time.
Right. It's just like Dr. Ross said, it was like a family reunion. So I enjoyed it. It was awesome. And being a part of the women's panel, wow, that was phenomenal. So if you didn't make it this year, we got to meet Otis. Definitely. It was like a real family reunion.
It really was.
So if you didn't get to go this year, please put it on your calendar for next year. You missed a treat.
Definitely.
So if this is your first time tuning into the Real Academy, REAL is our acronym that we've created in Create and Educate to solve problems in education. It stands for respect, excellence, accountability, literacy, and leadership. This is our framework that we use for working with leadership teams. We work with leadership coaching. We are specialists in school turnaround as well as literacy and school culture. So if that is something that you're needing at your school, make sure that you contact us. We are working with several schools and have been in different cities so far presenting, and we got some more coming up that we're excited about. So make sure you contact us if this is something that you need. The thing that makes us unique is that we have a different approach to this work. We are not traditionalist. Tradition is what's killing our students in education. So we have a very different approach to it, where we are trying to engage our students, especially with through their generational lens, through gaming and the different things that we know that they are interested in, to make sure that we're preparing them for the future. And why you should listen to us. Tammy and I have 40 years of experience between the two of us in education. We have been in just about every position that exists in education, in the teacher and the leadership aspect, to include district level leadership. Again, we're school turnaround specialists. We have won rewards for both of our schools, and Tammy's school was even selected by NWA to participate in a case study that is on our website at www.createandeducate.solutions. So the strategies that we use work with schools. So again, if you would like to work with us, go to our website, fill out our form, and we will definitely be in contact with you. So today's topic, as you could see from our intro video today, we attended a powerful session yesterday. It was the screening on the Right to Read documentary. So if you haven't seen it, it is, I went and looked yesterday, it's actually on YouTube now. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to watch it. I encourage you, if you are a leader that is passionate about solving problems in literacy, to make sure that you host an event, or just get more people on board behind this. But one of the things that was stated even in our intro video, the NAEP test that we take all over the nation every year, 66% of our students are below proficiency or grade level in reading. So this is a problem for everybody. It transcends race, it transcends gender, it transcends area, because this is happening in rural, suburban, urban areas. It is happening everywhere. And a lot of the great points that were brought up yesterday are what we're going to touch on, our reactions to it. One of the things that was stated is that illiteracy is the most solvable issue that is going on during our times. So if we can solve the problem, why aren't we doing it? That's the question. So we're going to talk about that. Tammy, what were some of your reactions?
So the main thing I think that we probably should start with, because Shika's right, when you talk about the main thing that separates us at this point from being able to truly engage in the information age, is people can't read the information. That illiteracy can be combated, and we have to combat it, because in the documentary, when you watch it, you'll see that Kareem Weaver says that illiteracy is actually the pipeline to prison, to homelessness, to depression, and to unemployment. And those are all key aspects of a functioning society. So we are going to have to do something about it, so that we don't fall behind as a nation.
Most definitely. I commend Kareem Reaver and his work, and everyone that was a part of the project. He also stated, what would it be like to have been in the Stone Age and not have a stone, the Bronze Age and not have the bronze, like it stated in the video. And now we're in the information age, and our children at such high levels can't read the information. We've got to do better than what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
One of the comments from one of the panelists, Mr. Vic Young, who is with All for South Carolina, I like to look at things from the root of the problem, because if we never get to the root of the issue, sometimes we don't know how to work our way out of that problem and never get back there anymore. He stated that what we should do in education is be research informed, not research driven. And what drives education, or what should drive it, are students and families. And I think in education, a lot of times we get that wrong. Because we're educated, we say things like, oh, well, it's research backed. And, even though it's not working with the kids, this expert over here said that it's going to work. So we've adopted this as the district. We're just going to keep going with this. Even though 2/3 of the kids it's not working for, we're still going to use this. That doesn't make any sense. um, they talked about how parents, we keep saying parents aren't engaged, but another panelist talked about how this is the most engaged parents have ever been. What we don't like is that we don't like what they're saying, which is they're not happy with the results that is happening with children. How many students is it that they, stated can't read,
Oh,
Tammy?
yeah. So it's 2/3 of the nation's children are behind in reading. But to Shika's point, what they were saying was that parents are trying to engage. They want to be engaged. And what they're looking for, though, is a real change. What
Hmm.
what they don't do at this point is trust us. And they
Right.
don't trust us because we're failing 5 out of 10 of their children. And I mean,
Exactly.
who could blame them? Like, because I'm sure parents are thinking, well, which 5 kids are you going to teach to read? If 5 out of 10 are being left behind, they just don't have a level of trust for us based on the data as it stands right now. So we are going to have to do something about it. And one of the analogies that was used in the documentary was it showed some canoe boats, and they had the boats, but they didn't have the oars. And they used the analogy that reading was like the oars, and without um, the oars, of course, you're not going to be able to move. And eventually, the boat's going to capsize because it's going to
Hmm.
fill up with water and it's going to turn over. So
Exactly.
we're going to have to find strategies and solutions for helping kids to learn how to read and get away from all of that extra, like Shika was saying, subscribing to certain programs, or
Mhm.
just talking about the fact that more and more children are unable to read. We're going to have to do something about it.
And Miss Dot has hit it on the head. Sometimes you need to research the researcher. And these programs that we have subscribed to in multiple states have made millions of dollars off of things, strategies that are not working with our students. And we know they're not working. The parents know they're not working. And that goes back to what Mr. Vick stated about, we have to let the children and the families drive what we're doing and be research informed. So
Definitely.
if we saw that that wasn't working, instead of this pretentiousness that we have or we exhibit sometimes in education, where we're educated, we're the knowledge base, and we're going to rely on what the clearinghouse has stated. Um, we've got to go with what we know that's in front of us. Well, this ain't working for half of the kids. What are we going to do for the other half that it didn't work for? That's what we've got to get to.
And what we want to encourage you as administrators to do is to invest in your teachers, not
Hmm.
programs. Like,
Right.
trust the teachers to know, and you know who knows and who doesn't. So if you have
Exactly.
a teacher who doesn't know what to do, tell them. But
Exactly.
for those teachers who know what to do, trust them. Let
Hmm.
them teach the kids how to read. And if that is veering away from the prescribed program, veer away from the prescribed program. I give teachers the autonomy to do what needs to be done to move kids, because what our business is children.
hmm And I'm going to speak to the district level folks because that's where I work at. We've got to stop from the district level saying, oh, well, but this is what the district has adopted. So this is what we're going to stick with, because it also was mentioned in the conversation that parents, other people had taken evidence to districts proving that several of the children couldn't read or it was failing. Only 2 children in the class could read, and you still stick to your guns to say, but we're going to stick with this based off of data that you see in your district that you're failing the children. That makes no sense. That means that we're just doing things because now we're obsessed with power and we're not actually doing things that work for children. So sometimes we got to get off of our little high horse, come down out the tower and come down into reality, get out of the clouds and actually do things that are working for children. And the teachers, when I was at the building level, will be transparent. At the secondary level, that's what they stated. Dr. Houston, we don't know how to teach children how to read. We didn't learn that in our program. And that has happened in several of the programs. I think research is also showing that the university programs really aren't that versed in teaching the teachers how to teach children how to read. But there are some foundational practices, and Tammy, your school is very versed in the foundational practices, and she is who I leaned on when my teachers came to me and said, we don't know how to teach the children how to read. This is my trustmate who has a very sound background in the practices of early literacy. So we relied on that knowledge, and she helped us to learn how to teach our children how to read. At the secondary level, you don't expect children to come up being on a third grade level in the sixth grade. At that level, we're really trying to teach them the information and expecting that they know, but they don't.
Exactly. And that's the thing that I love about the power of collaboration. When there is a need and I can meet the need, then that when Shika was saying, like, I had a whole different set of problems. I'd never been a principal before. So like, and my AP quit. So I really don't know what in the world is the business of the school other than to get in there and do what's right for children. And that is the main business of the school. But in a school, you also have to know the intricacies of managing the place. And I did not. I was not very familiar with that aspect of leading. I'm instruction, hands down. I could go in there. I could probably have gone in there and taught the classes, but that at that time was not what I was needing help with. Shika is leaning into me for this early foundational, which I got you. And that's what I told her. I got this. If you could help me figure out what I'm supposed to be doing with these 1,000 kids in the gym, and I can't hear. I know they can't hear. This is not working. This cannot be the way this is supposed to look. We were able to lean on one another. And while we're leaning into each other, we're thinking, something's wrong with this picture. Like, this shouldn't be that all we have is each other. Like, somebody else is supposed to be supporting us, surely. But what we decided was, you know what? We didn't get it, but guess what we're going to do? We're going to be that support for others. So we decided that we were going to create the framework for making sure that this is something that is replicable and you can use this, because these are strategies that are proven because it worked for us. And I'm just saying, when you have somebody that you know has what you need, reach out to them, call on us. That's what we
Exactly.
do.
Exactly, Tammy. And those 5 pillars of literacy, we've taught on it before, but that's what we specialize in, working with schools on, making sure your teachers are versed in that at any level. But the thing from the panel on yesterday and the video that we agree with, that is a practice from Create and Educate. We believe that all children can learn how to read. And we believe that all teachers can teach children how to read. There's no such thing as, oh, in education, they're just so slow learners. They're just always going to be behind. We've got to stop this foolishness because we have taken our poor practices and started blaming the children for stuff that we're not versed in doing. So with Create and Educate's approach, we have the Real Literacy Strategy approach, where we're basing that on making sure that it's relevant, that is culturally as well as generationally relevant. We want that reading to be exciting. We have got to spend time and research the literacy trends to make sure that we get children excited about reading again. And so we have to know what the trends are to be able to do that. A lot of times we just depend on, again, that tradition. Well, what we've always done, what Miss So and so did last year with her kids, what happened with me several years ago. I'm not going to tell my age now. Several years ago in the classroom. This is a new generation that we are dealing with. And so if we don't research the trends and what they are accustomed to doing and getting to them to engage them, that's why we're losing. So we've done a lot of that research, and we show the educators that we work with how to do that for your specific population. And then those lessons have to be accessible lessons learned, um, you know, with your students in reading or in math. So today we're focusing on the reading portion of it, but this is the work that we do. This is what we talked about when we were at Black Educators Rock, and we got lots of great feedback from our participants, Dr. Akua, Merlina, Miss Donna, Dr. Roz, everyone, Dr. Principal Hurt, everyone who attended our session gave us really great feedback. So we would love to work with your schools on this. We hope that if you haven't looked at the Right to Read documentary, we hope that you take a look at it, invite some other folks to look at it. And if reading achievement is something that you need to improve upon in your school, we hope that you call us because we have a great strategy that will be able to help your school improve.
Definitely. And one thing we want to leave you with today, and this is why the documentary was created. Kareem Weaver says that everyone deserves the right to read. So when you go into your schools this year, go in with that mindset and help your teachers to understand that everybody deserves the right to read. And if what traditionally has been going on in the classroom isn't working, that simply means those kids need something different. And that's what you have to call upon, is a different set of strategies to reach those particular kids. One last thing on the documentary, and Shika is right, is something that I think you should definitely take the time to watch, but it's also something that any teacher of reading, any teacher of math, any teacher of writing, science, it doesn't matter what your content, they need to see that, just to see what happens when you invest in kids.
Most definitely. And they described it as a civil right, and I agree. And also with Jasmine, that Generation Alpha. So the Generation Z and Alpha lives in my house, so I can attest to that uniqueness of them. And
Definitely. And honey, I'm in a multi-generational home. So it's very interesting.
very. And that work is so interesting as well. So we are at our time. We will be back here next Saturday, same time. We're a part of the Fantastic Four. Make sure you tune in to Principal Kafele next. He has some great guests on. And also to Unlock the Middle on Sunday with Josh and Dean at 7:30. So you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Remember, at Create and Educate, we create spaces that thrive. We hope that you keep thriving on this Saturday and join us next Saturday.
And listen, make sure you join. Even if you're a principal, join on with Principal Kafela. He's changed his platform, and now it's the assistant principal and new principals virtual academy. So please join him after us. And the documentary is called The Right to Read.
I'm actually going to update the comments with the link to the whole documentary. I'll put it in there. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Have a good rest of your Saturday. You too, Melissa.